question about Walter Jones, because you also then use that pick in trading for Rick Meyer to go get a Hall of Fame player. No big deal. I mean, just what general managers do, Randy. That's just a normal day at the office for you. But you, in Walter Jones, you get him. And did you know and see the upside in him when you selected him with that pick for what he became, which is some people's argument of being the best left tackle in the history of the NFL? Or was it that we had an upper level grade on him? We had him, he should be a Pro Bowl level kind of player.
We thought that draft was a 6-player draft. We had picks, I think 11 and 12 or 10 and 11. I can't remember. So we felt like we would give anything we could to move up and get in that top 6. I didn't realize we could get into 3, which we picked Sean Springs, and 6 and Walter Jones. So we got 2 of the top 6 on our board. That doesn't always work out. Trust me. That's just, no, we got lucky. We made a couple of calls at the last second that fell through, but got tipped off on another call. There's a 30 for 30 out there somewhere. We're turning those later picks into 3 and 6. So I'll say this. We loved Walter. We saw exactly what he became, but we had no idea he was going to be as good as he was. It was a risky pick because he played very little. He had only played the 1 year at Florida State. So he didn't have a lot of film to go for. I remember reading some quotes of some seasoned general managers, and I was young, like you mentioned earlier, and those seasoned general managers said, I couldn't have made that move. There's no way I would have done that. There just wasn't enough. So maybe my naiveness, maybe my young and wet years and didn't know I didn't know, maybe that helped us make a deal like that. But yeah, it turned out great. And obviously Walter, Hall of Fame. And I would concur, maybe best left tackle to ever play. You'd like to say we saw that all the time, but there's no way. We developed him, but his talent when he came to us was one of those things. And Howard Mudd was our offensive line coach, long time O-line coach in the NFL. And I remember going into his office and we said, there's no way we can get this guy. And it worked out that we did. And I remember he was thrilled beyond thrilled, right? And I remember he said, when I walked in his office, Howard said, I know, Randy, I know. Just don't screw him up. And I said, yeah, that's kind of, he was polished and ready to go. And it was up to us not to screw him up. And we didn't, fortunately for the Seahawks.
It's got to be one of the toughest calls for you in the draft when you're picking high and you have a guy that has those limited starts, but is so physically tantalizing and offers so much upside. But you want that tape, you want those extra years, to go off of with that. If you had I know this wasn't the scenario, but if it had been the scenario where you had your opportunity to pick between either Orlando Pace or Walter Jones in that draft, are you still taking Walter?
No, I think we would have taken Pace. I think he was pretty much a consensus first pick. Everybody on our staff, from coaches to scouts to directors, we all were on the same page with Walter being the second of those 2 tackles. But Walter was, I think, the 4th player on our board, only behind Sean, who we got with the 3rd pick. That was a great draft of Hall of Fame talent. Trust me.
It was very nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Those top 6 players, I'll say this, and kudos to our staff. We had them lined up right, and we were just fortunate to get 2 of the 6.